All right, let's move on from that one to take a look at Newspoll, where, Stephen, it's more bad news for Labor, I'm afraid. The Albanese government is losing ground in all the major metrics following a couple of hectic weeks. In two-party preferred, the major parties are now tied at 50-50, and Labor's primary vote has fallen to 33%, as the Coalition's has risen to 39%. So, Stephen, Labor's primary vote is now in line with what it had at the 2022 election, and that's after tax cuts, energy rebates handed out, less than 4 weeks ago. So it's not exactly encouraging news for the government.
No, to be fair, the poll would have been probably a little disappointing. It was a tough couple of weeks. The migration issues certainly were front and centre, as they should have been. The government needed to adjust its policy settings. Its Direction 99 had clearly had consequences that were not helpful for the government, and I think they've moved to change that now. The problem is, the point you just made there, our primary vote's the same as the primary vote we got when we won the last election with the majority. So national polls need to be taken with a dose of salt nowadays. There's very much regional impacts, very much city, regional, different states impacts. And what you're seeing there is that, unfortunately for Peter Dutton is going to be lucky on that poll to get past 60 seats. And to win federal government, you've got to get about 77 if you want to win it in your own right. So Peter Dutton, while that poll will be encouraging for the general discussion, unfortunately, the hardheads in the Liberal Party will be sitting there staring at that going, well, that doesn't get us past 60 on a good day, because our primary vote's not high enough. We're not winning any of the Teal seats back, particularly with the little frolic and embarrassment they've had over the long weekend about whether they're for Paris climate agreement or they're against the Paris climate agreement. And so while it will be a disappointing poll for the government, the person who should be the most disappointed is Peter Dutton, because it doesn't put him within not even shouting distance. He's not within cooey distance if you've got the Grand Canyon echoing you.
Well, James, that's true. The Coalition have got a fair bit of ground to make up. It's a big climb. But sure, I remember when Peter Dutton was unelectable. That's certainly not the case now.
No, he's done very well, Peter Dutton, and I can see a more focused and driven Peter Dutton of late with policy direction that I think that the Australian public can actually adopt and back. The problem will be, as Stephen identifies, is that Anthony Albanese does have a few ace cards up his sleeve, and that is the Teals and the Greens. And the problem that he faces is, will he do a preference arrangement with the Greens at this election? Anthony Albanese has the benefit here of putting the Greens last, sending a very clear message that he doesn't want to govern with the Greens. And the Greens will have no other choice if they do that but to still preference Labor, because at the end of the day, the Greens will never preference the Coalition or One Nation for that matter. So Anthony Albanese, if he does want to be a true leader in his own right, send a very clear message to the people of this country, put the Greens last and govern govern for Labor. If that's what you want, if you want to be a Labor leader, not to the behest of the Greens, make a very clear stand at this election, and make it clear now so we're all aware.